Hello everyone, this is Art Parable. Today I'm going to show you how to paint this using watercolor with an easy 3-steps painting method. First of all, please prepare a sketch for the subject you want to draw. Here I already have the sketch, which is a photo of a puppy. This is the work of Alexander Kozlov and Veronika Erzhova. And I'm going to use only 4 tools that I think are pretty cheap to get. I will divide the painting session into 3 stages this time. The first stage, which I call separation of light. At this stage, we will only use a water brush, which is, in my opinion, is very easy to use for beginners, because we can adjust the intensity of the water content on the bristle immediately. This stage is where we separate the shadows and highlights with a thin color thickness. Why does it have to be light color? Because this stage aims to train our ability to see subjects without detail. We don't see that they have hair or they have fur. We will just focus on seeing how the light falls on the subject, and will form a contrast which will later help us to determine the depth and volume of the subject, or we call it dimension. The subject of my painting only mostly consists of black and white color. But actually it's not only black and white, but there are other colors. But don't get sidetracked. At this stage, we basically focus on separating the light, determining the contrast, and securing the highlights. We should not linger at this stage because this is just the beginning. Do not let us get caught in being tempted to work on details, because it will lead to ineffective use of time. This is the result of the first stage, very raw, but we can see where are the dark parts, where are the light parts, where are the parts that are exposed to very strong light, which will probably just remain white until the painting is finished. The next stage I named brightness control. Because at this stage, you have to start daring to darken which colors should be dark and which colors should be light, according to the photo reference. That is why you can start with easy photo reference first, like I choose this photo because it's mostly black and white. It's a perfect photo for practice. And when you play with darker colors, you have to be careful when brushing, because the nature of watercolors is very difficult to erase if there are color errors. At this stage, you are required to use darker colors and play with brush strokes according to the subject being painted. In my case, my subject is a puppy that tends to have short hair. I'm going to think about brushing with a bit of imagination for how the surface of the bristle might be shaped with brush strokes. You can see my brush strokes are going to form a furrows, and to achieve this sensitivity, you have to look at the selected reference photo frequently. Regarding water brushes, we can find S, M, L sizes. This size also determines the size of the water container that can be accommodated, as well as the size of the brush tip. For objects of this size, in my opinion, the size M is the most ideal. And try to avoid using a water brush to paint very detailed and small objects, because the advantage of this water brush is that it is very good for painting base colors where the water content tend to be quite a lot, and if you have to paint small details, it's better to use a specific size. This is the result of second stage. As we can see, at this stage, the subject already has dimension. A far-reaching perspective on some parts of the subjects has also begun to be felt. At this stage, there is no need to rush. You can spend more time thinking about the dark and light of some parts, because this stage also determines how realistic our painting will be. Okay, let's move on to the very last stage, details. It's time to put some more colors that will make our painting even more lively to see. As usual, you need to look more deeper of the whole of your photo reference, and you may starting to notice there are more colors that you don't see before. I'll start with the eyes of the puppy with bright yellow color, and it's starting to look much different than previous stage. Then I'm going down to round the nose and mouth of the puppy with light brown color. I'm still brushing with water brush color to cover some white parts that I have left before, but slightly more thicker so it will make a good transition from black color that I have painted before. This is where we will be using another brush that made for detail. We will make more texture of the fur of the puppy with this brush also for the whisker. And for that too, we will use a gouache paint that have a really good thickness over watercolor paint. This gouache paint will help you to show more detail of white area color, and for this painting it will reveal the texture of the fur, whisker and some skin texture around the puppy's mouth. It's quite simple and easy because gouache paint only need water to solvent. Anyway, why do I have to put detail work for the last in the whole process? To work on detail, in my opinion, we need to manage ourselves even better, because working on details will absorb our time and focus. And sometimes we forget our goal that we need to finish a piece of work. In this case, it will be matter if you have deadline. Now our painting is complete, and this is the result of 3 stages that we have been through. And if you're wondering how long to make this piece in real time, and it's about 2 hours max. And most of the time are taken to wait watercolor to dry so we can continue to paint to the next layer. But of course you can speed up the process by using hair dryer with the lowest heat level to avoid any kind of overheat you don't want to see to the paper. So what do you think? I hope it will help for those who seek a simple watercolor tutorial, and I bet anyone can do it. If you enjoy my content, you can support me to grow my channel by subscribing or leave a comment down below, or share this video. It will mean a lot for content creator like me. I'll see you in the next one.